Thank you for joining this Quantum Security Defense webinar, Quantum Proofing Trust, an Entrust Blueprint. Eric is an experienced business professional in cybersecurity, trust services, PKI, and cryptography. With a strong business-oriented approach, he has driven digital transformation initiatives for financial institutions, corporations, and e-government entities. Eric has successfully led the international expansion of IT security and GRC software vendors out of France, Spain, Italy, and Germany after a career as commercial attaché in several French embassies. Eric graduated from QSECDEF Paris with a Master of Business Administration. At the Entrust Centre of Excellence, he empowers organisations to achieve their digital goals, implement cost-effective, identity-centric security solutions, and prepare for the transition to post-quantum cryptography. Eric also represents Entrust at the Secure Identity Alliance.
I've been with Entrust in a business development role for more than a decade as a member of our Center of Excellence. We are now quite involved in the PQC. I would say for 2-3 years now, heavily investing in awareness and awareness on the technology, but also especially on the regulations. So it will be a first part of my presentations on how the regulations impact our operations. No? Because the Q day is coming, but we'll see when. So it's really well known that Shor and Groover algorithm running on quantum computer will be able to break RSA and elliptic curve algorithm. So customer will need to migrate to post-quantum algorithm. So hashing and symmetric algorithm will still be effective, but key lengths we need to increase to maintain the level of security. There is also a known threat long-term data currently encrypted with a classical cryptography can be stolen and decrypted later. You know this. So governments believe that state actors are already using this attack. But also there is another one, is a trust now forged later, which is an emerging cybersecurity threat where attackers capture and store data today, but with the intention of breaking signature and falsifying information once mature quantum computer become available. So NIST conducted the competition since 2016 to select innovative mathematical approaches and define in August 2024 the first 3 post-quantum algorithms for key encapsulation, lattice-based digital signature and hash-based digital signature. So there is a consensus between the National Security Agency on the timeline to adopt PQC, starting with immediate usage for software and firmware signing. So we see clear guidance on the dates now that organization should be ready. The HC released recently a white paper and a strategic report I can only recommend. The IETF, which defines the standard protocol for our interconnected world, announced some weeks ago the RFC 9849. Sorry for this here. I'm receiving some news here. Sorry. Yeah, this RFC is encrypted client hello for extension for TLS 1.3 that encrypts the initial handshake, so it protects user privacy by hiding the server name, indication for eavesdroppers, preventing on-pass attackers from seeing which website a user is visiting. A lot of effort in the EITF community, and Entrust is working closely on all these approaches, especially this hybrid bridge, the PQT hybrid bridge, difficult to pronounce, but the concept is straightforward. It's about designing systems and applications with the ability to switch smoothly and safely between classical cryptography and post-quantum cryptography. So, several PKI profiles that support this approach are already moving through standardizations. Two examples are composite and chameleon certificates. Standard bodies across the world increasingly agree that hybrid bridge architecture are the only practical way to migrate to post-quantum cryptography currently. So you simply can't rebuild, retest, and cut over everything at once. So the strength of hybrid bridge model is its flexibility. It lets organizations spread their PQ migration over a much longer and more manageable time frame, aligned to existing budget, resource constraints, and system lifecycle. So you can build a PQ-ready system today without immediately enabling PQ mode across your entire ecosystem. So it's where Entrust enters into play. So we offer a broad portfolio of crypto-agile products, from the HSMs to the PKI platform, to the signature platform, the KMS, and other cryptographic systems that support these hybrid and post-quantum capabilities. I'll come back to this later on. Here are the different use cases associated with the post-quantum algorithm. Note that NIST moves FNDSA forward. In August, NIST submitted the draft standards for approval, and FNDSA is NIST's official name for the digital signature scheme based on Falcon, selecting alongside MLDSA and SLH-DSA for post-quantum standardization. You certainly know all these use cases and all those algorithms and the railing mathematics better than I. So understanding public key size in PQCs is key. In post-quantum cryptography, public key sizes are often much larger, depending on the underlying mathematical hardness assumption and algorithm family. So lattice-based algorithm, MLKM, MLDSA, have moderate key size and are the most practical for general use, while code-based schemes can require gigantic public keys, under 2 megabits. And this is one of the biggest practical impacts on PQC on system and protocol. So the impact could be positive or negative. Will be notice on computational overhead, potential performance latency, battery consumption in an IoT space, as well as challenges in interoperability. And for hash-based signature, have teeny public key, but very large signature and increased memory usage. Straight network bandwidth poses difficulties for long-term validation, and as well as integrity over time. Compliance. It is another difficulty our customer organizations have to cope with. This is a growing pressure from regulations. We started with GDPR, but now we are involved in many international, regional, and local regulations. Obviously, the latest changes for publicly trusted TLS is taking today 1 year validity down to 200 days since 2 days ago, then down to every 6 weeks. So really a lot of pressure on operations in order to renew and rotate keys. Post-quantum for government initiatives is very well documented, and I strongly recommend you to download this guidance from the GSMA. It's covered a lot of countries. Recently, the US administration just released the cybersecurity strategy, surprisingly without mentioning NIST. And in Europe, we have the NIST 2, which recommend the adoption of policies for crypto agility and for the migration to PQC. also targeting 2030, to be completed. But also, the emphasis is preparing the organizations, and we do not know if it will be auditing, but audits may come soon. The Cybersecurity Authority from the European Union, the NIST, has also published recommendation on hybrid cryptography. UK is released quite different timelines for the adoption of PQC. But interestingly, if for the one who are really involved in the consultancy services, there are a call for assured cybersecurity consultancy issued by the NCSC. The German BSI released also technical guidance some weeks ago, and France, which will host the QSECDEF conference next week, also recommend hybrid cryptography. A few words about threats on national IDs, long-term or long-life data. It's potentially quantum threats will enable forgery of digital signature and decryption of long-term stored data, like biometrics in passports and electronic IDs. So government worldwide will have to transition to post-quantum cryptography to mitigate this. And in Europe, every European citizen will receive at the end of this year the so-called digital ID wallet. And there are also concerns on targeting quantum resilience digital identity beyond this date, right? So a lot of work to be done. A lot of work to be done as well in passport, because passport are secure physically and if they contain a chip, also digitally. So when the passport is equipped with a chip, it's called the eMRTD, and this eMRTD chip is secured by various protocols to prevent skimming, cloning, eavesdropping, and forgery. And especially forgery is the most important focus when considering travel documents. They are the basis of the document and is very important for automatic border control. So while changing the cryptography primitives of the software is relatively straightforward, this is not true for the hardware. So you may know that we provide different type of PKI. One is a complete PKI suite for e-passports, the different EAG, BAC, EAG, and PKD, SPOC, etc. And we absolutely need to plan this PQC migration with all of our customers, and it starts now. Even if the ICAO has not established yet a guidance on PQC for passport. There are a lot of workshops on this. Some words as well and slide about the financial services industry. Central banks are taking the quantum threat very, very seriously. The central banks of the central banks, the BIS, the Bank for International Settlement, is conducting various research. And they issue a very important guideline for the global banking system if you are active in this industry. Back to Europe, and DORA in Europe also mentions policy on encryption and cryptographic controls and threats from quantum advancement. The PCI DSS is very famous in the banking industry for securing payments transactions. It's all about crypto agility, crypto or post-quantum cryptography as well. Post-quantum cryptography, I would say, recommended as almost everywhere for the financial industry. Very important sector, as well defined by the World Economic Forum. No? And this is global. This is an example for the banking system across Asia. A few words as well about the telecommunication industry, which is the backbone of our internet. So there are also very interesting guidance. As I said previously, policies issued by government. This is more related to the business of telecommunication, from the network infrastructure to the cloud services on the satellite communications. Again, I strongly recommend to download all those papers if you are working in the telecommunication industry. A lot of challenges for telco. We have been discussing this 2 weeks ago here in Barcelona at the Mobile World Congress. There are a lot of awareness to be done, a lot of, I would say, consultancy services opportunity, and trying to evaluate the risk, but also considering could be an opportunity for telcos to become somehow a qualified trust service provider, no? At a certain stage. Let's dig into facts and figure on PQC trends. When I mean facts and figure, because Entrust conducts every year a survey to 4,000 global IT security and risk leaders globally have been contributing. And or you can also download these reports on Entrust website. Really, this is I would say relevant indicators to see how organizations are facing this PQC journey. One is consider that quantum could be able to break the current algorithm within 5 years, when the others is 10 years. When we observe and we work with our customer, we observe that awareness have been created. This year, budgets seem to be allocated to start really working on the PQC. And when we comment working on this, assigning teams, having specialists attending conferences, really start with the personnel, with human resources, and trying to understand the impact if we do not start now. So this really is about fact and figure. Again, I recommend to download this. PKI, as you know, is almost everywhere. It's in your pocket, if you're in your telephone, in your passport, as I said. So we at Entrust are in this PKI business for more than 30 years. We are a PKI consortium founding member. And yes, when we review the infrastructure, the security environment of our customer, so really it's essential now to consider the broader landscape. So meaning the geopolitics, sometimes the threat climate, the evolving compliance requirements, and the growing operational complexity. But as I said 2 weeks ago at the Mobile World Congress, it was all about AI. So the convergence between AI and quantum creates a sense of urgency, I would say, to work on the post-quantum readiness. Some example here, the theft of cryptography keys and secret. And these assets are the true jewels that adversary are after. An attack might begin with something simple like phishing, but the real objective is to obtain the cryptographic credentials that unlock access to highly sensitive system data and APIs. So with those in hand, attackers can escalate privilege, move laterally, and scale their ransomware and broader campaign far more effectively. No. So the well-known example is the group often referenced in the media, Scatter Spider. They executed a zero-day attack targeting VMware technology, especially identity provider keys. And when an attacker succeeds in compromising assets like this, they are not just impacting one organization, they are potentially compromising thousands of organizations relying on the same technology. So, and VMware is widely deployed. By stealing those keys, an attacker gains the ability to elevate access to the critical system and data thereafter. Initially, the native platform capabilities didn't mitigate the issue, but the broader point is that VMware keys are just one example. There are numerous cryptographic keys and secrets across every organization that are just as attractive as vulnerable. Understanding that these assets are the primary target is essential. It's why we need to think carefully about how we protect these, how we manage the life cycle of these keys, and harness the controls over these. So in a sense, there are many more keys like the VMware ones across the enterprise landscape, and they are equally susceptible. So another example is SK Telecom. In this case, subscriber keys were compromised, resulting in an nearly 100 million fine. But the financial penalty was only part of the impact. The most significant disruption fell on customers. The forced replacement of 26 million SIM cards, an enormously costly and complex undertaking. So incidents like this also erode customer trust and inflict long-lasting reputational damage on the provider. So the malware involved in this attack remained active for years, silently filtrating subscriber data, names, address, phone number, their dates of birth, and personal information. Personal data was the real target. And once again, attacker gained access by compromising cryptographic assets. Another example is DOGE, the Department for Government Efficiency. In this case, an API key was accidentally published on GitHub. It was only exposed a short period of time, but it was a highly sensitive key, and it provided access to 52 LLMs, including some used by defense-related departments. So what is the lessons here? If a developer cannot keep an API key confidential, it naturally raises concerns about how other more sensitive information is being managed. So it's not for So again, it's all about protecting the high risk keys. Somewhat about the operational complexity organization face. And PKI and cryptography keep expanding because of digital footprints keep expanding. The more data we create, the broader and more complex our infrastructure becomes, and the more cryptographic keys, certificates, and secrets we generate. And we make it incredibly easy to create them. So virtually every modern applications, system, or infrastructure components allows you to spin up new key pairs or secrets with almost no friction. The real problem is not generating cryptographic assets, it's the volume of them and the difficulty of maintaining visibility, ownership, and control over such a large distributed set of keys. Another long-standing issue is the false belief that simply having PKI or cryptography automatically makes an organization secure. So anyone who has worked in this field for a while knows that cryptography is only as strong as the people, processes, and governance surrounding it. Good security requires risk management, best practices, separation of duties, least privilege, strong approvals, and continuous oversight. These take time, they cost money, and they must evolve as threats evolve. We've seen new classes of cryptographic attacks emerge, forcing organizations to rethink how they deploy and manage keys. That might mean shorter key lifetime, stronger protection in HSM, and additional approval for sensitive operations. But because cryptography is so easy to create, and ADCS PKI can be spun up in 5 minutes, organizations often end up with invisible and or feigned CAs, unclear ownership, and unknown risk. Understanding which keys and certificates matter most and what data they actually protect becomes extremely difficult. Our environments are also becoming more complex, and that places huge pressure on audit teams. Audit scope keeps growing, but audit teams don't. Organizations are forced to choose between reducing audit depth or absorbing escalating cost. And automation and even AI may help, but auditing remains resource intensive, and costs inevitably rise as the cryptographic footprint grows. On top of that, the industry simply does not produce enough cryptographic specialists to meet global demand. With post-quantum cryptography approaching, this skills shortage will become even more pronounced. One of the strategies we must consider is reducing the size and sprawl of our cryptographic estates so they are manageable with the talent we actually have. And finally, running a PKI or any cryptographic system is only about 30% technology. The other 70% is process, policy, governance, registration, and lifecycle management. That's 70% in the hard part. So really, let's now focus on two of the major disruptive forces, AI and quantum. So AI is forcing us to rethink the good data security when we are building LLMs and train them on data sets. So be careful with the access policies on those data sets. In many cases, we've even reinforcing poor security habits, no? And it doesn't stop at the model or the training data. It extends to how those systems interact with our storage environment or access control and the overall permissive patterns that tend to emerge. Another example we wanted to share with you is the DeepSeek training data sets now, and it was scanned using an open source tool called TruffleHog. And when the data set was analyzed, this has also been used to train other AI model worldwide. The tool uncovered almost 12,000 verified live secrets across platforms like AWS, Slack, and MailChimp. It also identified nearly 3 million web pages containing exposed credentials. So anyone experienced in cryptography knows that you should never hard-code credentials, secret keys, and you should certainly never reuse them. Yet 63% of the keys found were reused, and one particular API key appears almost 60,000 times across the dataset. So really, we also recommend the reading of this great data point from Accenture Technology, just to see how you need to rotate keys, secure the keys, store them to prevent agentic AI to take over all these crypto assets. Back in 2024, our analysts were already alerting on the need to focus PQC. What have changed so far, as I said previously, budget seems to start being allocated in organizations. Obviously, quantum is not only about breaking current algorithm. They bring a lot of advantage from drug financial simulations, physical simulations, etc. So really, an excellent market to be working currently. In terms of preparing for the PQC, one important exercise is to define risk associated with the lifespan of the data. And there are also challenges in specific industries, such as the manufacturing industry, where electronic components are being secured, deployed in one unique vehicle, and lifetime of a vehicle is on 10-15 years. So the car manufacturing industry is specifically sensitive on all this topic. So the real challenge we face is the fragmentations we have created over time. So it has become incredibly easy to generate cryptography on key, secret, and certificate everywhere across systems. And in fact, we've made it too easy. So, and that's how we end up with a situation like the deep ski example. So cryptography embedded directly into code, hard-coded credentials, repeated keys, and secret scattered throughout training data. This ease of creation has led to uncontrolled sprawl, inconsistency, and a landscape full of hidden risk. So really, crypto assets are very everywhere in terms of certificates, key, secret, and crypto library. So the path forward is improving your cryptographic security management, the security posture for both, data security, digital identity for individual, but also for machine. So really, cryptographic security management sits at the heart of the post-quantum readiness. So the journey to quantum safe is starting preparing with somehow as much as possible automated crypto asset discovery and the management of those discovery. So this is really the first stage now. There are a lot of effort trying to standardize this cryptographic bill of material, the CBOM, but it will become a very, very important step before thinking crypto agility. So first is all about performing inventory controlling and get visibility over the usage of all the crypto assets and the configuration of the application using those, relying on those crypto assets. Another concern is, be prepared for those audits. I was mentioning the NIST, maybe the DORA in Europe. So the control and automation are absolutely essentials. CLM, certificate lifecycle management, should be our top priority. If we have some customer still using Excel sheets to manage the certificate landscape. So really, compliance and risk is also a priority, a lot of priority, and centralized control and automations trying to link the life cycle of a certificate or other crypto assets with risk and vulnerability assessment. So obviously this inventory exercise should leverage any existing vulnerability assessment or asset solutions already deployed, and this is where we are focusing right now. On top of our let's say platform for managing policies, the compliance, and the automating the control over the crypto assets before scaling to PQC. So this is of Entrust value proposition here. It's a containerized platform with a unified stack for PQC ready solutions. Start with the root of trust, or HSM, the KMS, key and secret management, the CLM and the PKI in various flavor from both two aspects, no, the technical layer as well as the management layer. And at the center of this is the management of metadata, and try to link those metadata to the different policies. So it's all in one, with at the center the crypto compliance and risk management engine, and all around CLM, agentless file encryption for unstructured data, PKI on-prem or as a service, as I said before, this disaster discovery and inventory, and key management. You can bring your own key, but you need to be in control of those keys while accessing cloud services. A vault for secret management, and also orchestrating firmware, software, code, and object signing, all based on the HSM, which are now very, I would say, compliant with FIPS 140-3 first, but also have been upgraded with FPGA for post-quantum cryptography accelerations. This is some screenshots just to give you a sense on where the effort are being put on out of the box compliance policies, how you can define your own policies while the most relevant NIST or other worldwide policies are being proposed here by default. Compliance for keys and detected the key lengths, or if aligned with the policies, as well as the certificates, and detect in a very large landscape of certificates, which are the one which are already PQ resistant, and the one you will have to migrate. This is just also a sense of the CBOM. And last but not least, the HSM, which is a very important piece on every cryptographic landscape, and used for every type of, let's say, encryption processes, including remote signing, since those HSM have been also certified as a QSECDEF, a qualified signature creation device, including a signature activation module. Yes, so Entrust also offers assistance, can mobilize, I would say, PKI experts almost everywhere to accompany our customer in this different steps. The first being and we start seeing this establishing in the organization. So the assigning a team to start designing the plan for the PQC is now a reality. It's the major progress for the last 2 years, and now the concept is performing inventory and having all the certificates under control via an automated CLM. Yes, so this is the value proposition again from Entrust, not only technology but also services and consultancy services with our PKI professional services team. Some word about Entrust. So we are a private company based in the US. You see all the indicators here, but working in the identity space for 50 years with the value proposition around mitigating cyber risk with identity-centric solutions. And we have been discussing data security, but we have also identity security with IDV system or the machine to personalize documents such as national IDs or passport. This is, in a sense, a walkthrough a lot of slides, but I hope it was not too much.
No, it was perfect, Eric. Thank you so much. Let's jump into the questions. If you have energy, there are some. Let me see. The first ones was here. With the firmware signing, I had been pushing that hardening authentication was a must, and anything less than device card or fob was not enough. Did they include that? Is it included?
So we have a platform which is available via API for document signing, and we are leveraging this platform for code signing as a service, and we will be launching this service very soon.
And from Julio about the Internet Engineering Task Force, if it's standardizing along with other bodies, do you think this can create vulnerabilities in the country as companies can use different algorithms?
Well, we observe that some countries have started to rely on the global effort, but they have their own domestic policies in different regions, especially in Asia.
Okay.
So interoperability will be a concern at a certain point of time. Global interoperability, like digital identity,
From Bill, has Entrust continued its fire drill testing for cryptographic swap out?
Oui, you will. Can you repeat, please?
Has Entrust continued its fire drill testing for cryptographic swap out?
Maybe prior to the change of ownership, you guys were working on a fire drill scenario where you had the ability to basically rip and replace all existing cryptography and replace with whichever PQC algorithm you chose or was, it was kind of an emergency thing if something happened, and you guys you were working on it, I guess, about 1.5 years ago.
Wow. Maybe it's more related to the HSM, and migrating cryptography is not a swap. Obviously, it requires a lot of testing, and we are in Cambridge. We have an R&D center in order to implement the current algorithm and the future one in the security world, if you are familiar with the SHSM.
I maybe to clarify a little bit. A while back, you guys, just in case something happened where Q-Day happened sooner than later, you had a testing that was just, if something did require immediate change of all cryptography, you guys were building something that could happen or could deliver that.
Yeah, there is two things: the backward compatibility and the speed of change. If, as you said, something happened, and this is our responsibility as a PKI and HSM provider. Anyway.
Yeah, I think maybe we can. Bill, can continue that also offline to ask specifically about the fire drill. Maybe we can have another question from Chris. How do you view the issue of hybrid adoption?
Well, it will depend on maybe the verticals and the region, as recommended by different standardization bodies or authorities. It seems that at least in Europe we go from a hybrid, while in other regions it's more pure PQC algorithm, which will be implemented maybe. So we see also difference from region and even vertical. And we're not talking about QKD in the telecommunication industry, for instance.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this next week, Anna.
Yes, let's talk. Yeah, let's do that. Let's take all the hard questions in Paris. From Stephanie, with the recent shift in executive leadership across major carriers, how do we ensure the cryptographic inventory remains a board-level priority rather than getting buried in IT backlog during restructuring?
Yeah, you have to link this exercise of creating a CBOM with the crypto agility, which now is being perceived by the upper management as a priority, and it's all about communication and internal communication in the organization, indeed. But as a CBOM is not standardized yet, IT department may face some challenges. But it's all about internal assignment and trying to define really the strategy over 5 years. But the urgency, as we see, is assigning a team, having skilled personnel, and start performing inventory. Yes, and with this, demonstrating that you gain control.
There's also a question from Andy. What is your opinion on decentralized against centralized cryptographic control?
Well, it will depend on the, let's say, everyone's policies. The two ways are possible. When you mean decentralized, it has to be somehow centralized at a certain point of time. So you can start managing crypto assets in different sub-network or region, but at the end, you will have to have a centralized approach.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of those applications, even when the blockchain is deployed, it's not as decentralized. I mean, it's just a blockchain. I assume that it was connected to the blockchain. The question, there is raised hands from Noor. You're muted.
Hello. Hi, Eric. Thank you. I have a question. Given the skill shortage, the need to shrink our cryptographic assets, and the DeepSeek incident where 12,000 live secrets were found in training data. So my question is, what is the one key action you recommended enterprise take immediately to improve cryptographic governance and reduce AI-related risk?
Thank you.
Check the governance. It's all about, again, security posture is not only about technology, is how to govern and to define policies. And if you identified such data theft, you need to investigate. So it's all about investigations and remediations. Again, it's policies. And in the PKI world, it's all about CPS. Certificate policy, certificate statement, and revisit those. We observe in the vast majority of customers that even if they have a PKI in place, the policies have never been updated. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So our stronger recommendation is to revisit anyway every year the policies related to certificates and secret and keys.
Thank you so much, Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nora, for your questions. Thank you, everyone, for the questions today and the discussion. We on time a little bit longer. Sorry about that, but it was very informative talk. I hope you all took notes because there was lots to digest. The recording gonna be on the QSECDEF.com, and yeah, for everyone that can, please be with us next week in Paris. If not, join us remotely. As I said, we're gonna have it streamed, and there's gonna be recording available through upper side webpage. As I said, it's not through us, but actually through them. So check the links, get your tickets, and be with us. If none of those options works, then I see you after Easter on the 7th of April, and we resume our weekly meetings. And I wish you all a lovely week ahead.
Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you for watching this Quantum Security and Defense presentation, and thank you for being a valued member of our community.